Not for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info. Welcome to the 23rd of October 2023 edition of the program. I hope that you're setting, wrapping properly like your seatbelt, because the ride is really very intense on hard facts, maybe or soft facts, maybe. We'll be looking at stories, but then we talk political governance, money, interest, and all whatnot. So it does come with some intensity. And good thing is, the show comes out at lunch, so you're hydrated and you've got the energy to go on this ride with us. So welcome to Hard Facts. My name is Kimberly, the Oracle, the digital Oracle fellow, Madam Speaker, or China one. Of now wanted to add another name, I say I beg you.
That's enough names now.
No more.
Welcome to the show. My name is Itodo. As always, it's great to be here on a Monday. There's so much as always to talk about. Dramatic weekend. This weekend I was out. Thank God. And I observed something. A lot of people are not out as they usually are. I went to a spot where if you were to go there on a normal day, it had turned back because it's packed and there's no space to accommodate a new person. But it was scanty, literally. And someone asked if Abuja residents are broke or we are picking priorities as to what we want to spend our funds on right now. And I'm like, everybody is being careful. You can't be throwing money around, spending anyhow. And I read a report about over 40% of Nigerians who earn minimum wage spending a chunk of that buying food and taking loans to be able to even live their daily life until they get the next paycheck. So it just goes to show how people are struggling every other day to make ends meet. And in the last 5 months, it's been intense for a handful of people. I mean, even though the president said it will be temporary, but you would ask the question, what does temporary mean? How much longer would people be able to hang on before things get out of hand?
And temporary, how do you even begin to define it? 1 month's temporary can be another month's lifetime. So it's too vague to just say temporary as to telling people, giving timeline as to what to expect, so that, it builds confidence and hope that there's something in the near future for you to look forward to. But the president has said the removal of subsidy will be the best decision taken by the country. I know, yes, you're tempted to laugh out loud like, yeah, right. But let's see what he comes up with at the end of the day. Well, welcome to the Roundtable. There's so much to talk about. Our guest is already comfortably seated. I hope Barrister Tony Idoko is here with us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. I know we dragged you out last minute, but I appreciate you for, honoring our invitation, sir. All right, let's get started with some of the big stories. We have a new EFCC chairman, and Olukoyede. He would inherit no longer than 25 high-profile corruption cases involving former governors, ministers, senators, and all whatnot. And some of the cases, especially those against some ex-governors, have lasted several years, while some are still under investigation. Some have spent years in court with no conclusive end to it. Olukoyede was confirmed by the Senate on Wednesday, barely 4 months after the former chairman of the commission, Abdul-Rashid Barr, was suspended. And based on the finding, the amount at stake in the high-profile cases is not less than 772.2 billion naira and another $2.2 billion alleged to have gone missing through money laundering, phone diversion, and misappropriation. And there are a list of some governors whose names have been peddled as to being under investigation. And some of them, even the former EFCC chairman mentioned, name dropped. For example, the former governor of Zamfara State, the incumbent Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawali, former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Namani. I mean, these are, we're looking, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, some names that were dropped as to we're investigating them and all whatnot. So it feels like he's got a lot on his plate. However, he still has something hanging over his head, even though he's been confirmed by the Senate. But, there are some people who still are kicking against it, and so they went to court, and the Federal High Court, Abuja, has okayed 2 separate suits seeking to sack the newly appointed chairman of the EFCC. Both suits were brought before the court by legal counsel Stanley Okawara and Maxwell Okpara. And I know that I mentioned Maxwell Okpara's own last week, but we have another one. So they're saying he doesn't have what it takes, going by the EFCC Act of Section 2, subsection 3, to be EFCC chairman. Do you think this is going to distract from the enormous work in front of him?
Well, thank you very much. Not at all. Not at all. The guy seems to be very focused. I think Maxwell is on a suing spree. He's always suing. He sues everybody. Sometimes, a lot of times, most of his suits are thrown out. But he seems to get a kick from just waking up and thinking that whatever is not going according to his own perspective, he goes straight to court. It's not everything you don't rush to court at every opportunity. Now,
but he does have a case, doesn't he? The EFCC Act, Section 2, Subsection 3
he's talking about
state clearly what qualifies you to be nominated as an EFCC chairman.
Yes, and it is clear even from the provision, and if from the man's account, from his history in anti-corruption and crime detection and all of those things. I mean fraud and all of that. If you follow the man's history, you'll find out that the man he has gone even beyond the threshold of 15 years, which is what Section 2 is asking for. Someone who has over 20 years experience fighting fraud, both in the private sector and also in the public sector. He's worked as chief of staff. He's worked as secretary. He was secretary for 4 years. He was chief of staff for about 2 years. And then he just became the chairman. And what the act says, it just talks about 15 years cognate experience. With, like I said, he has over 50, because this was something he was doing before he went to law school.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been able to prove that. He has experience, he has certifications, from Harvard, certifications from the Oxford University in UK. He has so many of them. I think I know he's also a member of the International Police, something. He has so many of them. So I don't understand what Maxwell and his friend, I don't know what they are asking for. They are still saying the man is not qualified. Some say he's not his whatever he was at the court, at the EFCC at the time, being secretary. Some people, I don't know, I think it's just ignorance.
Chief of staff and also secretary.
Chief of staff and secretary. And they said that is not equivalent to
Assistant Commissioner of Police.
Meanwhile, secretary is like DIG. The secretary is not like, recall that the last chairman, he was promoted to the position that made him equivalent to assistant, what do you call it now?
Assistant Commissioner
of Police. You understand? And I hear that's about around level 14 or so. You understand? Now, after that level, you become assistant director. After that level, you become deputy director. After that level, you become director. Then you become secretary. You understand? The secretary is the number 2. If you look at the organogram of EFCC, the secretary is the number 2 person. Secretary is the person who moves just like a DIG with security. Even when you retire, they give you security to follow you for life. Just like and the only people entitled to that in the police from AIG, that you can have that. You understand? And then you say the person is not qualified. Well, you say it's not up to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police does not enjoy that in retirement. You understand? It's just like any other police, So I don't understand what you mean by it. So I think that people are saying that they are ignorant. This guy has been fighting fraud all his life. He's done so much even for the commission. You know what you do? Just do an independent investigation. Just go to the place and talk to people about the man. So I don't understand.
But wouldn't it be also expedient for us to amend this section of the EFCC Act to make it very clear? Because the problem with us is, all kinds of interpretation at the end of the day. Now, these people have taken it to court, apparently.
I agree with you.
Waiting for the court to interpret.
Yes, and I believe that the court will help them to interpret. You see, a lot of very senior lawyers have, given their opinions, on these things. And all of them, I've not found one senior lawyer, not one. Okay, I've listened to Falana. I've listened to what's the name of this lawyer, this SCM with white hair everywhere. Something I've forgotten his name now. Then there's all the senior lawyers, all the SCM, even Monday Obani and all of them. They've all succinctly, adduced the point that look, this man is qualified by virtue of this provision. Okay, so when you're talking about cognate experience, the cognate experience must be. The law does not say the cognate experience 15 years. All of the 15 years must be in law enforcement, maybe working as either a policeman or as a law enforcement a member or officer or in the EFCC. The law just said what they want is 15 years cognate experience. You see, and sometimes, even government, when government is employing people, government also employs people with cognate experience from outside, from the private sector. For instance, if you are going to be a judge, what the law asks for is 10 years post-call practice, law practice, just 10 years. And the law did not say that all of these 10 years must be as a judiciary officer or judicial officer. It didn't say that, because we have members who work, we have lawyers who work in the judiciary. Some of them are magistrates. Okay, like the last one they just did, I think was just a few weeks ago. Some lawyers were sworn in as High Court judges. 2 of my mates were sworn in as High Court judges. Both of them had worked as magistrates. They were one worked as magistrate and left, and then the other one was still a magistrate. But majority of the people, in fact, more people are employed as judges from outside. So the 10 years doesn't have to be inside. The 10 years can be some experiences that you got from outside. You understand? So no law says that you must have 15 years experience inside before. No. Okay. If you look at that law, that's section 2. That law that the
FCC Act. Yeah.
Yes, you must have worked as a member of government or law enforcement for 15 years, right? Okay. So that means and you must be at least equivalent of
assistant commissioner
minimum. So that means someone who is working as someone who is who works in civil defense, because that's law enforcement. Someone who is working in civil defense, who has worked for 15 years. As far as some of these guys are concerned, that person meets the threshold, because it says law enforcement for 15 years, and that person might not have had any background in anti-corruption, in fraud examination and regulation and all of those stuff. It doesn't have it. But if the person comes and stands, even if the person is a police officer...
No, the person is not going to come and stand. The person would have to be handpicked based on the person's record, antecedents, and experience, cognitive plus.
Yes, but...
At the end of the day.
Yes.
Because I've even heard people even say, maybe we should even do away with this whole part of security aspect of it and bring other intellects who have the experience, maybe from law perspective or others.
That's exactly that is the precedent now, because in the past it's always been people from the police.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mindset thing that it's only people who are in the police force that can fight.
Because it's spelled out in the FCC Act.
No. He didn't even say that. It says either you must have as a member of government or law enforcement. So it doesn't have to be. All it said, the police only came in when he said it doesn't have to be the equivalent of. You understand? So it's our mindset. It's just like the NSA, the office of. You remember when Ribadu was nominated? People say no. We cannot have somebody who is not a general. The person must be a general. If not, people will not respect him. We forget that if you look outside, okay, you go outside. Condoleezza Rice. She never served she was not a military man. She was a professor, with background in security, And then, of course, she became she was a defense secretary. Abi? I think she was defense secretary briefly before she became a secretary of state. You understand? So these are some of we just need to get our minds, of some of these prejudices.
In a bit of
that you must be a police officer. You don't have to be a police officer. So I agree with the amendment that there's need to make that amendment and clear all of these doubts. Once you have background, in fraud regulation, fraud anti-corruption and all of those things, that's what you need.
But I'm going to ask you just for clarification. As opposed to appointing someone that would bring all of this back and forth that we're facing right now, which might somewhat hold them back from performing 100 on that job. How about we go with what the Act is saying right now until those amendments, those changes are made? Because I'm guessing there are other people who will fit that role properly without these questions being asked.
No, you see, let me tell you, Itodo. See, if you are appointed today in Nigeria, there are people that will bring issues against you. There are people that will just say you are not qualified for. What some people are looking for is disqualification. They're not looking for the things that qualify you. They just look, okay, how can we disqualify this guy? They will look. Okay, let me tell you something. This man was secretary. He was. Look, I forgot. He was a consultant to EFCC. Before he got into EFCC as secretary, he had worked as a consultant. When Ribadu, as far back as when Ribadu was chairman, chairman gave him a consultancy job or whatever. You understand? He did that from 2005 to 2009. You understand? And then he has been working. Do you know he's been training the FCC? He was training them, training the EFCC staff, coming to train them. It was what they saw in him that said, okay, no, let's make this guy, we need this guy as chief of staff. So now made him chief of staff for 2 years. You understand? And then when there was an opening for secretary, he was appointed as secretary.
Yeah.
So it's not Do you get it? So, but you see, like I said, there are people who they're not looking at what qualifies him. It is what disqualifies him that they're looking. In fact, some people even say he was suspended. There was even other issue.
He was removed alongside Magu.
No, you see, what happened? That thing was just administrative. It was not just here, Magu. All the staff that worked with them, all of them, okay, they were all suspended. It was just so that they don't interfere with evidence according to their whatever they wanted to do. Then they finished, okay? Now, what happened when they finished? He got a clearance letter from the president. He was cleared, okay, which he has and which he submitted to the Senate for everything. The staff all went back to their duties. Magu went back to the police. Magu was promoted to Assistant Inspector General of Police after all of that meeting and everything. It shows that nothing was found. So since they could not, now let me tell you, if it was possible, they would have been looking for corruption where he has put his hand, maybe somewhere in the aisle and all of that. They couldn't find that. So the thing is to go to section 2. I'm sure they have combed all the sections. You understand? So, Itodo, Dickie, by the time the president decides to appoint you tomorrow as, say, come and be DG of NTA, someone will just say, how old is this Itodo? How can he be DG of NTA? How can he be this? How can he be that? They will, if they can't find something, they will go to your school. They go to university. If they can't find something, they say, if they can't find something in your school,
we'll bring it up.
You understand? If they can't find anything in your school, they will go to secondary school. They will look for everything. They'll say, but he asked somebody a question one time and the teacher called him out. You understand? So that's it. That's just our country. People are just opposition people.
On one hand, it's a good thing that we can interrogate.
Yes.
Because we want people of standing, integrity, and clear record.
Yes, but
I also get where you're coming back at the extra scrutiny. But it is also well within, our place to say, this is what the law provides. And we think this is acting contrary to what the law provides. And then you go to court to challenge it and get that clear interpretation to say, okay,
we know what is beautiful. It's beautiful. Let them go to. It's their right.
Beauty of democracy.
It's their right to go to court. You understand? It's just that the person who is in court is always going to court every time, every appointment. It shouldn't expect.
He has not gone to come more than Serap. The other day that Serap won a case in ECOWAS court, I was so happy for them. Like, thank God.
Finally.
Because I was getting tired for Serap and suing and threatening.
No, but the thing is, with all of these cases, it helps people to better understand what the law says and to also put the government on its foot to ensure that changes are made when necessary.
The only thing is that some of them are not doing it from a good place. You understand? You're somebody, some is just, I don't know, maybe some just fight the administration. Once it's coming from this administration, will fight it. Maybe the other administration, maybe there were people who did that too when PDP was in government, okay? Once, because I don't like Jonathan, any appointment by Jonathan, they fight it. They look for something. They say, no, Jonathan, see the person Jonathan has appointed. Look at this person, look at that, it's not qualified. So there are just people, that's their job, that's their business. Some get popular from doing that. They think their names are everywhere. You see them, they'll invite them on television, they come and talk and all of that, Some people just, like I said, just get a kick from doing that. And then they get popular, So for some, but if it's about this man, just don't go. The man is qualified. Let me just leave it there. He's very qualified.
Apparently.
Yeah, and a good number of lawyers. Good number. If you go to the law, we have so many platforms for lawyers, so many. And some of these things, they just drop them there and you see conversation. People just say, you can't say this person is not qualified. Look at this, look at that, So,
and I give it out.
Some people go, anyway, it's not everything I will say on radio. So let me just let some.
You save some for the law group.
Yes, just save some for.
Well, we'll see how it is interpreted now that they've gone to court with it and put that out of the way. Well, while all of this is going on the side, we hope he focuses on what is ahead of him, because the EFCC job as a chairman is not a walk in the park. We've seen EFCC chairmen and women come and go, and half the time they leave unceremoniously, literally booted out of office, and with some bit of smear campaign on them. Particularly people like Magu, who was a showman. He was a showman in the sense that he liked a lot of media trial, sensationalism. His removal was also equally sensational when they brought allegations of misappropriation, abuse of office and all of that. We talked about it for days on end, but how did he end? He got a promotion, he's gone into retirement and living his life happily ever after. So let's hope that his will be a different story altogether, and that it will not be too much sensationalism or something substantial at the end of the day. Nigerians want to see I see all these governors that they've name dropped, like Abdul Rashid.
You remember during the screening when he even had to call the name of the Senate president.
Senate president, don't use me as scapegoat.
don't use me as
because
scapegoat.
you people see government official as Pablo Escobar. I say Pablo.
But you can imagine his boldness. You understand? He didn't appear like he was someone who was desperate. He would just say, imagine the person who is in charge of your screening. You are even using him as an example. And then people would buzz, if you play, everybody was laughing, and then he just said, no, it's just an example, that kind of thing. So he's somebody that I think what we just do, like I saw in the Punch this morning, there's this what do you call it, editorial in the Punch. They still talked about the issues, and some people, their misgivings and all of that, and they just said, look, what we need to do, and then they talked about, just like you said, the banana peel, all the other people and everything, and then we just need to support them. I think it was the editorial was particular about the FCC chairman and the new ICPC chairman, and they say what they need is our support. Let's support them. Let them get the work done. That's what we want. It's not.
But what strategy would you like to see him implement? Seeing that there's a belief that once you move from one party to the APC, it's as though all your sins are forgiving and everything just goes. You don't have any questions to answer anymore.
No, but but there are people who also moved from one party to the other party and who went to jail. It didn't stop that. Daria moved to APC. He went to jail. The former governor of Taraba, Jolly Nyame, he moved to APC. He went to jail. There are a few other persons I know that their cases are still in court.
Nigerians will be quick to remind you that they got a presidential pardon. They didn't serve out their time. And Ojus Okali, who also moved to the APC, somehow find a lacuna to wriggle himself out of getting to stay in prison.
But you don't blame we don't blame the FCC for that now. The FCC did his job. They got the prosecution. Is that also? They were sentenced. So if they got a pardon, no business of EFCC. That's the business of whoever granted them pardon. You understand? And of course, we can talk about the other time we're talking about the same issue, and somebody was like, that the people who love those guys who got pardon, they were excited because it's a member of their family or something like that. They were good, but it's not. The optics is wrong. That's the truth.
Because we spent a lot of money to convince people. If you do that, you frustrate the system. You frustrate the guys who are doing the work. Exactly. So why spend all this money? And I think... Okay, let's go on a quick break and we'll talk about the optics afterwards. Stay with us.
Gabatar da sabon sabulu mai fi da dauda. Duk sanda za ka yi wanki, kar ka yi amfani da kowane sabulu. Nemi sabulu da yake...
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Audio Jungle.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts, you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
From you, because presently the country is not working under your leadership, says Oludade. And Musa from Games Village also sent his thoughts, saying good afternoon. What the law says about the qualification of the person that will be appointed as executive chairman of EFCC, the guest in the studio needs to interpret the law and not sentiment. And Kim, we lawmen listen to the analysis in the studio. I want to know what the law says and not the interpretation. Who sent this one? Musa from Games Village. Okay, Musa. Well, he's giving one interpretation. We'll get the interpretation from the court eventually.
Exactly.
These are known quackers that always subscribe to complain with everything about government appointment and policies. The new FCC chairman is ably qualified to oversee the affairs of the anti-graft agency. The same set of people were agitating for youth inclusion in government appointment and at the same time kicking against the appointment of a 24-year-old FEMA chairman. I beg, Mr. President, please remain focused and deliver good governance, radio senator. Well, the FEMA's own is they made him chair of board. And a lot of people just felt at 24, what cognitive experience, let me use that one, do you have to be the chairman of the board? It's one thing to appoint you as head of the agency.
Yes.
But the board, decision-making body, you would need the right experience beyond
I
age
think
to
it
come
was a
in.
good thing that the president listened, on that very one. I even heard that the guy just finished service. That's what that he has a first class. Not enough. It's not just first class experience. You understand? Because one thing you need, to succeed in anything you are doing, just like you guys are here, is first of all the knowledge. You need knowledge, and then you need. Some people have the knowledge, but don't have the experience. Okay, so you also need the experience. I was asked somebody who was anyway. My brother-in-law just finished. He was engineering. He was electrical engineer. He just read electrical engineering from university. And at home I will be doing something. I was always going to get an electrician to come and fix it. So I said, come, but you read electrical engineering from university. You look at this thing. Why should you be paying it? Why don't you fix it? Then he said to me, I'm a designer.
What is that?
And I said, he said, no, I'm a designer and all of that. So I said, you're a designer. You understand? So you can see that there's knowledge, but the experience is different. You understand? The guy who does...
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
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 is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This 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 is Nigeria Info.
What do you call this bill that went through the other time? Not too young. Not too young to run, but I think 24 is too young to be chairman of FEMA. Because sometimes the problem is that FEMA, the MD or the DG of FEMA will be almost his father's age mate. Do you understand? And then board members are usually very matured people. Do you understand? And then he's 24. I think he's really, but again, you see, when I looked at it, I just said, well, I gave kudos to his dad. Because I'm sure, let me know, I'm not sure. Probably he was his father. You know his father is a popular politician. Maybe it was the dad that they wanted to make chairman. And the dad was like, you know what, give it to my son. Unfortunately, I think he didn't bring, maybe if he had another son who was older. And you know why I respect that decision? Because at his age, there are people who just look at their age and just say, no, they want to, try to prop up their children. Because if you give it to I know people who at their age, instead of them to help to say, okay, let the younger ones take it, they're still just fighting and struggling. It's like the man is a politician, he has had it all. So he was trying to bring up the young man, I guess.
This is just us assuming, right?
Yes, I'm thinking because I am sure that because his father is a popular politician, and I know that the father is a friend to the president.
Raises question on appointments that are always withdrawn because it's not the first time we've seen this, and it just goes to beg the question: do they investigate and ascertain before they announce these appointments? Because it's a bit unfair when you announce an appointment and a few hours later it's retracted. What does that say about the appointments that have been made so far?
Well, Itodo, I would just say that. Well, I agree with you. Maybe they should. I don't know if they didn't investigate the age. I don't know whether it was a mistake. They didn't know he was 24 years old because it was after the thing came out. I don't know whether.
How could they not have known? What's the chief of staff doing that he can't tell some of these things?
Well, but the only thing I can say is that I think is that they withdrew it. That's better than just saying no. Let him forget about it. Let him be chairman and continue. It was withdrawn. It's a human error, and.
And if people call it out and you see the sense in it.
For me, that's what I love about leadership. Is the fact that when people are saying something, listen. You understand? And don't be ashamed to say, no, we're not going back. What I don't like in government is, see this word, no going back. I don't like it. It's a military term. You don't say no going back. Even sometimes in the military, they listen. You understand? So I think it was a good thing that they withdrew their appointment. And sometimes it's for political expediency that they do withdraw. I remember one time, look, they can appoint you now from Benue State, maybe as a minister, or no, not really. maybe before you go to screening, something comes up, and you say, Kai, maybe election is coming and we need so and so person. This person is more formidable. We need the votes from that area. If we put Itodo now, if we put Itodo forward, if Itodo is just one, he's a deacon, he's very gentle,
Okay.
And
not all Dickens are gentle, but go ahead.
Yeah, he's very gentle. He's not so pushful. Or maybe they'll say, Itodo is an Abuja boy. They just gave birth to him in UK. He just came to Abuja. He doesn't. But this one is grassroots, so they might withdraw you. Say, you know what? This one is a grassroots person. You understand? So sometimes it happens. They'll just call you. It's them. It's their business. They don't know what to tell you. Just say, Itodo, don't worry. We just need that space now. We'll find something for you later. You understand? Maybe we'll put something. So sometimes it happens. There are such withdrawals.
That brings us full circle as to the need to always challenge things and not just take it.
Yes.
On that face value and like, all right, maybe he has one experience we don't know about.
No.
People
because
challenge it.
There was actually outrage at 24 years old, chairman. If at 24, if he was like Minister of State for Youth, you understand? One would even remember. One can even understand. And one thing I think about a lot of these young men, and this government has employed appointed a lot of very young people, but I think that sometimes they should put them as junior levels so that they can learn.
We beg to disagree.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Do you know why I said that? For instance, if you pick like a 30-something years, very early 30s, make the person say minister, a senior minister, yeah, and PAMSECs and directors who are far older than him, they will be subject to him. That can also cause some issues.
No,
This is taking us even a step backward. Given the fact that we've had people who are older and not much change has coming.
What I think should happen. What I'm saying is that a lot of the young people don't have experience with a lot of them.
That's an unfair assumption to make.
Sorry, it's my opinion, Sha. I may be wrong, but I'm thinking that sometimes when they come, put them as ministers of state, let them learn. You see, that what you are doing outside is different from what you are coming to meet here. You understand? Let them learn the ropes. Let them learn how things are done. Let them be ministers of state. Remember that they still have.
Festus Keyamo comes to mind now. So if you put it this way, people will say, minister of state are learning.
Already
level.
No, already we have ministers of state. Keyamo said no, it's unconstitutional and all of that, but we already have them. In America, we have junior ministers. They are called what do they call them? Is it? I've forgotten what they call them now, but they are junior ministers. You understand? So for me, I don't see what is wrong with being a minister of state. It's not clear anywhere that whether I should not be minister of state or not. A minister is a minister, just that we have junior ministers, okay? So while you are there as a junior minister, learn. Just know how politics is played there. No, just be following the minister.
Is that role for learning?
Not at all. It doesn't sound like.
Is that?
Sir, if it's zero experience, like in the case they brought about this young man for Fema Imra, one will understand like we're dealing with someone who does not even have some iota of experience beyond just academic paper.
Yes.
And you need more than that for this. But then there are people who, from school and things they've handled, you perhaps will see that bit of experience and acumen coming in.
See a key man.
We've had people with all their experience and being former governors, they come and hold an office and leave without a single impact.
That's because something. You can have experience, but you just mismanage the place because of your selfish. Maybe for whatever reason. Not that you don't know what to do. The interesting thing about Nigerians is that, look, I believe that we all know what to do. Most of the people who get into office, whether at the state or federal level, they all know what to do. If you are Minister for Works, you don't know what to do. If you're Commissioner for Works, can't you see bad road everywhere? You know what to do. When they're putting these monies aside, you mean they don't know that what they're doing is wrong? They know. They just don't want to do the right thing. That's different from what I'm talking about. If you like a Binance president, when you get into government at that level, it's a different ballgame. You understand? It's a different ballgame. There's the politics of it. You understand? There's the sometimes, how do I put it now? But I don't know whether there's politics even in the office. Even this work we're doing here, there's also the politics side of it. It's not sometimes it's not as it seems. Everything doesn't seem so clear, and things like that. So you need to still learn. That's what I think, for a few years, and then you become, because if you are a very young person, you still have a lot of years ahead. Do you understand?
All
we
right.
still have a lot of years, so that okay. If not, then we should leave this 24-year-old boy now.
He does
Well,
not
he's
have the
24 years old
experience
guy.
to
Age
be
doesn't
board
mean-
chairman.
There's experience either way, so you can be young and learn on
He
the
could
job.
still be 60 and not have the right,
That's what I'm saying.
the
Those
right
ones don't
get
training.
their
And,
point.
that takes us back to even the EFCC chairman. People are saying, are you sure he fits this profile?
No, but you see,
Interrogating it at
that's
the
what
end
I
of
was
the
saying.
day.
But if you look with him, he has experience. He's been proven. Since 1995, he's been into this thing before he went to study law. This has been his first love. You understand? And he's somebody who is over 20 years post-call. A lawyer of over 20 years who has been dealing with criminal activities. So this is different from a very young person. Do you understand? And with the EFCC something, like I said, the people who are going to court, some guys went to court in Kano. Do you understand?
Over which case?
Over the same case,
yes.
before screening.
Okay.
And the judge adjourned it to, I think, 30th of October. So they couldn't stop this. They wanted to stop the screening. Okay? And then recently, two other guys again, I think Maxwell and one other guy has gone to court. You understand? Maxwell, like I said, Maxwell is easily annoyed at some of these things. I just say, Maxwell should just take it easy.
Well, there
You
are some
understand?
people who are taking exception to that, actually.
Well, I just think that, well, look, I give kudos to Maxwell for what he's doing, and the other guy, the two of them. Okay, it's okay, they can go to court, but well, let's wait and see what what the court says. But like some people will tell you, they are trying to well, let's just see. They have their. I'm sure he has good reasons why he's going to court.
All right.
They have good reasons why they are going to court. They think the law has been breached and
EFCC
everything.
section
And so
2,
if they go to
subsection
court,
3.
well, they make it richer. They
So
make
it's
the law
getting
richer.
better, but
They make it
interpretation
better.
of
So
what
whatever the court
law
says,
says.
we
We'll
have.
take it
So
there.
kudos to them in that direction. If that is all what that is about, then I say okay, kudos to them.
All right.
Let them go. The court will help us so that we will know, going further, whether next time it has to always be a policeman as head of EFCC. But I think, and I also believe, and given also the opinion of so many senior lawyers in the country, I think that what the president has done in this, in appointing this man, Ola Olukoyede, as EFCC chairman, is very well in order.
All right, then. Elijah Monday Father says, well, Elijah doesn't seem to agree with that. The man was a lawyer working in the law firm of Osibajo. When did this man train the EFCC? So the Rotimi Jacob is more qualified to be appointed as EFCC chairman because he handles most of the EFCC cases. Is that the rationale? He should stop blanketing real issues because it's all right.
Can I quickly correct that person? That person is wrong. Ola Olukoyede has never worked with the vice president. I don't know where they are getting this information from. Please, I don't know who the person is, but let him do his findings again very well. Some time ago, they said he worked with Falana. They are always putting him in different chambers. He places that he has never, ever worked with the vice president. Never. So maybe he needs to go and read about the man again. So that information is wrong. That's part of the wrong information, they are putting out there and people are running with them. Okay? So that's not correct. I've also saw that. In fact, I saw on Twitter, somebody put his picture and that of the vice president together. And they say 3 things you need to know about the man President Tinubu has appointed as EFCC chairman. He said, number 1, he worked in the office of the vice president. That's not true. That's a lie. The second one they said is that he's a pastor with RCCG. That one is true. The third one is that he was suspended. That one again is true. He was suspended, but he was cleared. And everybody who was suspended in EFCC, all of them, both Magu, both himself, all the other staff who were suspended, they were all cleared and they've all gone back to their jobs. So nobody, suffered anything. His suspension was not after or as a result of the findings of the committee.
All right.
It was before the committee to clear all of them so that they don't tamper with evidence. And as soon as they finished, they cleared all of them.
Okay, let's take some calls. We'll take about 3 phone calls quickly. And, since that the case has gone to court, we'll let the court do its interpretation of it within its wisdom. Let's hear you, 0700 951 0000.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Itodo.
Welcome.
This is Bryce. Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
My name is Bryce from Abuja. my problem in Nigeria is that we do laws and later some people that said they read laws. They want to come and interpret the laws they read in black and white. As if to say it's only lawyers that have absolute knowledge of everything. Let me tell you, out of 230 million people, must it be those people that work with that former AFC chairman that must be in that office? Since they have been suspended, let all of them go. After I didn't see what Maggie did that was right in Nigeria. Where is the money he recovered? Where? And upon that, the whole allegations they gave him. The man is not qualified. He's not qualified. Forget about people who come and print and do PR job for certain people. Let's have a good Nigeria that is workable, good for the future. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Let's hear this other caller. Hello.
Oh, Kimberly, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, and the digital Deacon and digital Oracle combined together. My name is Sam for God, and I'm happy to be able to get across to you at this point in time. As much as I respect the opinion of your guests, but I also want to ask and say that there could be other people who may say that he is also speaking from the point of interest. If he's saying that other lawyers are going to call for popularity or because of interest, people will also argue that he is also speaking for what will benefit him. So my suggestion would have been that could we not have found someone who is qualified and fit into the mold or prescription for that office? Do we need to go the way that we have to argue whether he fits in or not, or we try to make him fit into it, or to go to God? Are there no clear rules stated that we would have followed to avoid all these issues? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sam for God. Let's hear this caller.
Good afternoon.
Barrister Idoko, good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Okay.
Mr. Oracle.
Welcome.
He's listening. Go ahead.
I greet you especially. My name is Annie Joseph.
Go ahead, Annie Joseph.
Hello, can I go?
Go ahead, yes.
Okay, yeah. You see, I beg to disagree from our guest perspectives today. He's talking as if they have already employed him to defend this new appointed chairman also. And from what I get, he has already tempted the court. I don't think that the court has any other thing to say. We would have just talked as a guest, that talking as a guest, not just defending the man and telling us that he's not qualified and
all right.
That we should not. No, he has already preempted the court, and I so much
okay. Annie Joseph, thank you very much. We'll take one more and move to the next story.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm Abuja. I'm calling from Pleasure.
What's your name again?
Abuja is my name.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we are practicing constitutional democracy. We have a constitution that governs the nation. Constitution is the fundamental law, principle, according to which a state is being governed. So concerning this appointment in question, what did the Constitution say? What did the Constitution say? That is the question. It's very clear that there is a rule guiding the appointment of a person in a particular office. So for some people going to court to question a particular appointment, it will help to strengthen the system. I think I congratulate the young barrister that has taken it upon himself to get the presence on the court. And for your guest, I thank you. What a nice delegation.
Thank you very much, Abuchi. Now let's move on to what happened in Benue State, Otupo, over the weekend. The shocker that must have greeted the residents of Otupo.
All right, so daredevil armed robbers on Friday stormed 3 banks in the Otupo area of Benue State and carted away money, several millions of naira. The suspected robbers were said to have driven into the town around 3:15 p.m. and used dynamite to force the door open. 7 people, including policemen and a former councillor transacting business in one of the affected banks, were reportedly killed by the suspected robbers who operated for more than an hour. Itodo is the political seat of Benue South Central District, comprising of Idoma and Igede ethnic groups. An eyewitness who simply identified himself as Sonny operated a POS business close to one of the banks, said the robbers first attacked the police station before proceeding to the banks. And he went on to give all of the things that happened while they robbed the bank, saying that the robbers were throwing naira notes as they left in 2 different vehicles and 1 car. When contacted, the police public relations officer for Benue State Police Command, SP Catherine Anene, confirmed the robbery incident, but said she was yet to get details as at the time the report was filed. And there have been various reactions trailing that. We see that the Benue State Deputy Governor visited survivors and offered financial assistance to those who were affected by that robbery. And reports also have it that the DPO and 3 others were affected in the gun duel with the Benue Bank robbers, according to a statement released by the police. And this, brings to mind insecurity in the state and what the times have gone on to push people to doing desperate efforts.
You know what? If we put the time as push people into, as much as I understand that, yes, when a country is going through an economic crunch, the crime rate would spike. Yeah. But to get to this sophisticated level, I refuse to accept that it's not something that has been there for a very long time. Because the nature of the horror in which they carried out and people that they killed and attacked a police station is reminiscent of what happened in Offa when there was a bank robbery. And there was one that happened, was it in Edo or one southern western state? I recall some times back. Well planned, well orchestrated. That requires a lot of money to get the weapons, to get the vehicles, to recruit the number of people that you need. It's not someone who cannot afford his next meal or pay his rent that would go. Maybe it'd be easy to recruit those kind of people, but crime will always be there, even in time of plenty. Really, sorry to jump in, but when people say that, it just feels like, the minute things get rough, everybody.
But then it encourages people who would be a part of the squad who are able to perpetrate this act. That's what the Times would push you towards doing. It gives you that excuse that, I'm having a hard time right now and I should just go with the flow and find a way to get my next meal.
Yeah, Itodo, you see, but at the level at which this was done, it just shows those guys probably were on serious drugs. Normal people would not do that. I haven't heard of anything like this, honestly, in this country. It wasn't just one bank. About 4 banks. I understand there were about 40. They just came and they laid siege on the police station. They were able to, they arrested, the guys in the police, killed the DPO and our 3 other female police officers, destroyed the banks. They said they came with explosives, brought the banks down completely. 1, 2, 3, 4 banks, and they were just shooting indiscriminately, killing people inside the bank, people who were unarmed, people who were not trying to stop you. Why did you have to kill them like that? You understand? And I understand that they had they did that. They did this they took like 2 hours. Of course, the police, which was only law enforcement that provided security in the place, was already locked down. So there was nowhere.
They already attacked. It was reported
before they moved on.
So they had they had the time, a very good time. They did that for like 2 hours, and then they got enough money, did all they wanted to do, killed the number of people. I understand they were killed about 15. Someone was telling me about 15 that they reported. What the papers are reporting, I don't know if it's true, but eyewitnesses say they're about 15.
We'll
15
just
people,
go with at least credible papers and what they're reporting at this point in time.
And they just. But of course, we hear now that they arrested about 4 of them.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't seen them, I think it's good.
DPO, 3 others officers died in gun duel with them. They were arrested.
There's need for those guys, those 4 guys, to be. I don't know. People say they should not. People are against parading of criminals and all of those stuff. I don't know what, but let's hope that.
Even if you don't parade them,
investigation.
You need to be able to get something out of them to just at least get how long they planned this, where they planned it from, and where they're headed next.
One of my friends said was very sure. He said it. I read it on social media. He said he was very sure that to give the police 7 days, they will catch these guys. He said it. And Well, I don't know whether to say I was surprised or I wasn't surprised, but I understand that as they were going, I understand that soldiers, I even heard that soldiers killed some of them also.
Yeah.
As they were going out, that they were attacked, and soldiers, they ran into some soldiers, who killed about some of them.
Police killed 2 fleeing robbers, arrest 4 of them on their way Otukpo Taraku Road.
And honestly, just like Kim said, there's really, I wouldn't say, look, just like she said, I understand that, yes, when the economy is down, when things are not working as they should, yes, there's usually this uptick in crime and all of that. But, people can steal. You don't have to kill people like
crime.
this. Yes.
It will spike.
Maybe, yes. But not to get into the bank with very powerful guns and then just kill people, start killing people. Are those people responsible for the problem, for the economic problem? They are not. So why do you have to kill them that way? So I think they were seriously under the influence, some very powerful drugs or something, But above all, what that town needs right now is security.
I was going to come there.
Yes.
I've heard people who say, insiders are involved and all. I said, I'm not going to get into all of the theories with you.
I don't. Yes.
But it tells me the vulnerability of a lot of towns, because if they get away with this, some other minds might be thinking, they don't rob banks for Tupo. Let's try to another quiet, sleepy town and see if we can get away with it. And the last thing you want is for this ripple reaction to coming. I mean, even some people who have serial killer tendencies, they do it. They see a serial killer getting a reputation, overshooting a certain way. They want to do it exactly the same way so that they would have that last minute one. So aside from Otukpo that needs serious beefing of security, a lot of small towns, sleepy towns, even the big cities would also need to just be up and alert against things of this nature.
What that town needs right now is serious. That town used to have Otukpo is a big town. It's a commercial center for the Idoma people, the biggest Idoma this thing.
Yeah.
We used to have a barrack. Used to have an army barracks.
Used to?
Yes.
It doesn't have anymore?
No, it doesn't. I don't know why they moved the barrack away.
Okay.
They still have army children's school there in that place, But I don't know, something happened and then they moved the barrack. I think they need to relocate that barrack. They need to take it back, because like somebody said, if there was an army barrack there, there's no way that this thing would have happened.
Oh well.
So my appeal to government is, please, not just to go, but I know things are one kind, but
let's
we
go.
just have to keep. Somebody said the hope when how did they put it? The hunger when get hope, they kill person. You understand? So let's just keep on hoping and let's hope that this economy, this government, will turn things around a little, even if it's a little.
All right then.
So there can be things for the boys to do.
Let's go on a very quick break for the news at the top of the hour. We'll be back to talk some more. Stay with us.
In the midst of your daily activity.